What's up, Wise Take? It's Thursday night. That's right. It's another episode for the two Guidos. No, that's right. No two Guidos tonight. It's actually an episode of Father and Son Building Blocks. That's right, guys. Wise Take members, if you remember last year, me and my boy Cam, we did a show together called Father and Son Building Blocks. A few weeks, we did it for like a Monday build or something like that, and we did maybe like a Saturday night show. So Paulie D, really, he's AWOL. We have no idea where he is. He might come in the last second and be like, hey, yo, what's going on? We don't know where Paulie is, guys. Honestly, I don't. We texted CK. He's in a hair appointment right now, getting all oiled up for something. He don't know where Paulie is. Like, Cam. So we got Cam on board. Cam, what's up? How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I can't even tell you the last time I've been on one of these podcasts. I think it was like for MLB or something like that, but it has been a long time. And went down the checklist and then we got to the bottom of the barrel and here I am. So thought I'd fill in here tonight and should be a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I only get a chance to do one show a week because, I got 3 kids. So It's just this Thursday night. So it's all about, talking football here and getting into the slate. And hopefully, baseball season, guys, I think I will be around a little bit more this year. So I'm excited for that. But it's football. It's week 14. The fantasy football playoffs have started already for you in most of our leagues. Obviously, it's seasonal. So believe it or not, I'm in. I only played 3 seasonal leagues this year, 2 of which I made the playoffs. And in both leagues tonight, I had the greatest opportunity to be playing against my opponent who had Derrick Henry. That's right. Derrick Henry. So you think, oh my God, Patio Joe screwed. Nope, because on both teams, Derrick Henry was on the bench. Oh, man, I feel like Patio Joe, the Italiano, is feeling a little Irish right now, at least going into
Jesus.
So, I mean, it was...
When you told me that, you were like, yeah, guess what? I played against Derrick Henry in both leagues tonight. And I was like, are you serious, man? That's so shitty. And he's like, yep, but they're on their bench. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. But I was saying that I feel like there's some people out there that probably had to pick like Henry up or start Henry because of Hunt and Connor and just like lucked out because, man, he went fucking nuts tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was crazy. Like, he broke 2 runs for over 40 yards. He had 4 touchdowns.
That 99-yarder, he just like stiff-armed 5 guys down the field. It was pretty insane.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was definitely crazy. And if you started him, kudos. I guess he was 1% owned and like less than 1% owned in the big tournaments for the Thursday, Sundays.
That's wild.
So you have that, man. You are just like, go to the strip club tonight.
Yeah, you're swimming in money.
Yeah. So anyways, we got week 14. We're just gonna break down the slate. Cam's gonna go more for DK. I'm gonna go more for FanDuel. And then of course we will have at the end, we're still gonna have the hottest game show on Thursday nights on YouTube. The Price is Right. We're still gonna have that.
Is that what you claim it? The hottest show on Thursday nights on YouTube?
Yeah.
I like that.
Game show. It is. It's
the hottest thing.
That's how it's trends. Yes. I mean, all the people that are in here right now, they will attest to it and how much they love it and they want it. D. Millie, he wants us to start off the show with it, but I tell him
you gotta wait.
We just can't do it because we need to have people come in because they come in, they wait for it. They're like, ooh, we're gonna do a little later. So, anyways. Let's move on to this slate. Cam, like a quarterback this week, I'm more of a cash game, smaller tournament guy. So I'm going to talk more about like that. But for me, I feel like every week it is, are you going to pay up for Mahomes or are you going to go somewhere else? So talk about that. And then maybe some of the guys you like up at the top, and then we'll go mid-range after that.
Yeah, so we have Mahomes obviously here, 7K on DraftKings, going up against Baltimore at home, which is nice as well. I think he's totally fine, even though he is going up against Baltimore. Baltimore now with Lamar Miller plays at a pretty fast pace, so I think Mahomes is still going to get a lot of opportunities to throw the ball. with the loss of Kareem Hunt as well. I think he will just probably go out there and sling it. He's got that like record narrative as well. So I think he's definitely an option at 7K. He's fine. I don't know if I get there, honestly, just because there are some like cheaper options that I'll probably try to save some salary with. But I think Mahomes is definitely worth taking a look at early on in the week here. I like Big Ben, although he is going on the road, going to the West Coast. Still like a really good matchup here against Oakland. He's just been slinging the ball like 45, 56, 47, 47 attempts, like just all over the place. I like him. Kind of leverage as well in tournaments off of Jalen Samuels, who's going to be the running back. Chalk, if you play him and Big Ben throws 55 times and he only runs the ball 8, that's pretty good leverage off a guy who's probably going to be 30% owned in tournaments. Drew Brees here at Tampa Bay. You and I were kind of talking about that before the show. I think I'm going to be off him. I have a rule just for myself. I usually don't play him on the road. You can touch on Tampa Bay's defense as well a little bit. Rivers is fine, more of a cash game play like we were talking about. I do like Winston at 6-2 as well because they just throw the ball all the time no matter what. He can throw 4 interceptions, but he usually goes 300 yards and 3 touchdowns as well. So pretty good floor even if he has like a terrible game. And I don't think you have to worry about him getting benched anymore. And Rodgers here. It's like a juicy narrative. Like I've heard some people talking about revenge, like or however you want to call that, like kind of getting back at McCarthy for fires him. He's gonna go out and throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. It sounds good. I don't know if I'm sold on it yet. So I think we can kind of see it's a pretty deep week, and you're gonna have to like dive in a little bit and really hone in on some core plays. But just going 6K and up there on DraftKings, there's really like 3 guys that I don't like, and everyone else I think is kind of in play. We'll go through our top 3s later though at the end of the show.
How do you feel about McCarthy being fired? Are you happy as a Packer fan? It was overdue.
I mean, like I just didn't like how they were playing, and I think obviously something had to be done. I don't know necessarily if it was like his fault. I think it was more of like the whole dynamic of everything going on there, and I just think something had to change. I'm not like against it, but I also don't think it was like completely 100% on him. I think it does have to do with Rodgers as well, but I'm kind of glad they made a move, honestly, just to change something up because they've looked like absolute shit like the last fucking 5 weeks. So
it's funny because I feel like the national media with McCarthy are saying he's just going to get hired tomorrow, and the stat nerds, the fantasy guys, are like, he should never be on a field again. So it's funny to me. I think that Rodgers getting hurt a couple times can't help.
Yep, for sure.
And, I don't think it was Mike McCarthy who told them not to pick Derwin James in the first round.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he would totally have helped that defense. That's what they need. And that's what people say, like the glaring thing that they should have picked Derwin James, who is honest. I've been watching him all year. That guy is going to be defensive player of the year before his career's done.
I was pissed when we didn't draft him. I remember sitting there. I was like, we're gonna be able to get him, and then we didn't. And then I was like, okay, well, fuck it. Classic Packers draft pick. At least we didn't draft like a backup tackle though. That was cool.
So quarterback for me, I kind of echo the same thing. Like Mahomes, I might have like a tournament team with him, but I feel like I'm not really on Mahomes for this one reason, is that I think that Baltimore is going to come in there and they're going to try, like last week, just run the ball with Lamar and Gus Edwards and play keep away as long as they can, like they did. Like Matt Ryan didn't have the ball at all last week.
Yeah,
that's part of the reason why Julio was shut down. So, like, I just feel like you're not going to have that ceiling game. That you're going to need maybe to win a tourney with Mahomes. Ben, to me, is you're going to do a cash game quarterback up at the top. that's what you would do. Maybe Rivers. But I just think that I probably want the Chargers defense on cash, so I wouldn't want to play the quarterback. It just doesn't, correlate well. So, and then going down that, like Winston is all right, but I think that game, I think that game is going to be sneaky under just in general, because you have the wind, you have the rain, and then you have both defenses. Like, people don't realize, like, the Tampa D, like I was saying, the Tampa D has held quarterbacks down the last month. They've changed their scheme. Whatever they're doing, they're holding them down. They're not saying that they're not going to give up yards or whatever, but they're going to – basically they've been able to get shelled on the ground. So they're going to try to run the ball with Kamara, Ingram, and yes, they're going to pass, but if the wind is bad and it's raining, and I think that the New Orleans D is underrated too. So if you take them down, I feel like you're just going to want like bits and pieces of the game, and both quarterbacks you don't need. The cash quarterback right now that's kind of sticking out for me, we talked about, is Dak Prescott. You might get 40 or 50 yards on the ground, hopefully, maybe something like that would be great. Or, and then you're going to get a safe floor because they're going to pass on this putrid Philly D. Like, their secondary is terrible. That's what I'm looking at right now. There's nobody really under below like that's like sticking out to where I'm like, yeah, I want to take a shot on him or anything like that. So it's like, to me, I feel like, maybe Baker Mayfield in a bounce back game.
Yeah.
I'm sort of liking him just because you're not going to be able to run on this Carolina D. So how they're going to move the ball is he's going to have to pass.
Yep. They've been giving up quite a bit of yards through the air. So I have my eye on Baker here at home. That should help him out a little bit. What do you think about Luck on the road in Houston? I don't mind him. I think he has a bounce back game. This is a guy who has literally thrown for like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns for like 8 straight weeks, and then just had one hiccup against Jacksonville, threw 52 times last week. I know he's on the road in Houston, but Indy's pass protection has been really good so far this year, and Luck could have time. I think that's a high scoring game, and I kind of like him at 5.9 on DraftKings. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that just for like ownership wise, I don't think anybody's going to have him, just because they're going to look at what happened last week, look how they put up no points, see what Houston did on what I think it was a primetime game too, or something like that. Like, what, didn't they do something where
on Thursday night?
Yeah, or they beat Cleveland pretty good too last week, so they're at home again. So I just feel like the recency bias is just going to push people off of Luck. So yeah, I'm fine with that, because he's going to be throwing. Somebody did put in the chat though that Hilton's injured. He's questionable right now. So
yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to running backs. To me, I feel like we talked about it. I feel like if I'm starting out any lineup today, cash game lineup, the 2 running backs I'm locking in right now, Christian McCaffrey at 9,100, pairing him with Alvin Kamara. Those are the guys up top, and then obviously the salary relief will be the chalk of the week. Will be Jalen Samuels. We'll talk about him a little more, but I just think C-Mac, just the volume, you're going to be able to beat Cleveland on the ground. They give up chunks on the ground. So that's an easy play. And then Kamara, he's scored like 6 touchdowns in 3 games so far against Tampa. Showed the game. We showed it how it's going to be a running game. I just feel like this is a Kamara game. And then obviously Samuels, just volume alone at 4,600 in cash. He's going to get 10 to 15 carries and a few catches out of the backfield if he scores. You're just going to be going with the crowd. There's obviously some great pivots. I love Justin Jackson as a pivot in GPPs for 4,500 on FanDuel. He is just, I watched him last week, and as a Charger fan, I'll tell you this: I have buddies that work the practices at the Chargers camp, and the Chargers practices. Melvin Gordon is not playing this week. Austin Eckler is going to start, but as we saw last week, the plan is Eckler's going to have maybe the early down work for the first quarter or two, and then they're going to face the Jackson. And we saw last week Eckler cannot be the lead back, so it's going to be Jackson. I think also probably if you're looking at game script wise, they're up by 20 points in the fourth quarter. He's going to be getting all the carries. He's going to be in chunks of yards. I love his upside. Everybody saw, man, that kid can run the ball. And guys, I really subscribe to this thinking. You definitely invest in running schemes in like offenses. You don't get in players. There's good offenses. You can run the ball with good running back for the Chargers because they block well. That's why Gordon's doing well. That's why, in the Chiefs system goes always well. The running back, because Andy Reid always features the running back. That's why you can always play him. So that's what I'm looking at, just really from the first right off. Obviously, there's some other guys we can talk about. Cam, what do you think about that? And you can go with it.
Yeah, so C-Mac at the top against Cleveland. Really good matchup. He's the highest priced running back on DraftKings at 9.3. His price is just increasing every week, but I mean, obviously for good reason. 52-34 last 2 weeks. Like you said, Cam's shoulder's messed up. Probably going to rely on him a little more heavy. They definitely need to continue to keep trying to win here if they're going to want to get in the playoff race. So, or during this playoff race. So I like C-Mac for sure. I can never cross off Saquon, just because he's such of a dynamic player. So I'm going to have to look at him. If ownership it gets crazy low on him, I'll definitely play him, just because I have to, if he's going to be lower owned. Zeke's fine. You and I were talking before the show. Dallas at home. Second matchup of a divisional game in the season is typically lower scoring. They're going to be facing off again. They let Zeke beat him last time. We don't really think that that's going to happen again. I mean, I don't at least. I'm sure they're going to let Dak beat them if they were going to be smart. So I would look to fade Zeke. I mean, obviously you can get a piece of him if you're making multiple lineups, but 8-6, there's 4 guys above 8K on DraftKings, and I like Kamara, McCaffrey, and Saquon higher than Zeke this week. And then Kamara right now at 8-1. That's just a price that stuck out to me. Looks way too cheap in this matchup here against Tampa Bay. Last 3 weeks hasn't really done anything, but 2 targets or 1 target each against Philly and Atlanta. Pretty uncharacteristic from him. Maybe they got a little complacent in their game planning, game calling. Now they lost home field advantage, so they're probably going to try to get that back from the Rams. Look for them to get going in a bounce back spot here against Tampa Bay, get Kamara back involved in this offense again. And at 8-1, I could see him just smashing that price tag. So I like him a lot. Probably going to be my number 1 ranked in that tier this week. Might have to be McCaffrey, but I really like the $1,200 savings there. Talked about Aaron Jones pre-show as well. Interesting here. I mean, just one of the better matchups for Green Bay. Atlanta gets their linebacker back, right?
Jones. I think he came back last week, but yeah.
Yeah, so he'll probably slowly get going, but it's going to take him a while to probably get back up to game speed. That should help them a little bit, but I mean, this is just a really good spot for Jones. If he actually plays, he split half the carries. I think it was 39-38 snaps. Sorry, not carries. Last week. Just a really fluky game. Sucked too because Jones was 30% owned. I decided to eat that chalk, and it just.
I mean, he still scored. He didn't kill you.
Yeah.
But Lindsey goes off for 30, and you probably had the choice between one of those two, just because you probably went up somewhere else. It didn't work out. It doesn't matter. He's more.
It's very frustrating, but this is definitely a spot you can go right back at him. 7-2. I would look for Philbin to feature him. Jamal Williams is just not that great. So I like Aaron Jones' bounce back spot this week. Everything else in that tier kind of is fine, but I'm with you. We were talking pre-show, there's a lot of like chalkier guys down in this like upper 3K range. Justin Jackson. For the Chargers, I like him a lot this week. I think the game script's going to favor him here, going at home against the Bengals. Should get kind of like unlimited usage in a way, because why not use the guy, right? I mean, they're not going to save him for the playoffs. We're assuming Melvin Gordon's going to come back. You have Eckler. If they get up to a 20-point lead, why not just pound the kid, see what he can do, and if he gets hurt, oh well, because I mean they got Melvin Gordon and all that. Jalen Samuels for Pittsburgh, he would be the guy that I would fade in tournaments. I think he's fine in cash, but in tournaments I can just kind of see him like AB, Big Ben throws 50 times, AB and Juju go off and he gets you an 8, and then C-Mac goes for 50 again and you're down 48 points at that position. So he would be the guy I would be looking to fade. And yeah, I like Justin Jackson at running back, and I think the kid Wilson for San Fran's fine as well. I just don't love that situation in San Francisco, like with everyone that he's playing with, honestly, going up against Denver's defense. That could be a tough spot. Mid-tier, not a whole lot to love, honestly. I think maybe some people might fish with like Ingram and go like, oh, I'll try to get the cheap touchdown. I see that a lot. And I think Lindsey's fine again in that range. He's 6'3" on DraftKings. And if you want to go like David Johnson, you could try. He's fine, just more of a price play at 6'5". But really for me, and kind of for the most part, how running back has been this year on DraftKings, it's either like pay down or punt. There's not a whole lot to ever love in like the mid-tier really that sticks out to you besides like Lindsey last week, which was kind of a nut spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, what about Adrian Peterson this week? Like, I just feel like, I know it sounds weird, but like the Giants' run D is terrible ever since they got rid of Snacks Harris.
For sure.
So, and you feel like they're not going to want Sanchez to be throwing the ball. Like,
yeah,
they're going to want to run AP like a ton. Like, I feel like for a volume play on FanDuel, I could see him. Like, DraftKings, no way. Like, there's no way. But FanDuel at 6,500, I don't mind him. You know what I mean? Like, if it fits, and you have like you need somebody in that area, I think that's where I would go.
Yeah, he's a guy like I never play. I just have like a weird bias against him. I think I've played him once this year, and like it ended up doing pretty well because they had literally no one else to run the ball. But like, I mean, now you get Chris Thompson back. I could see a scenario where this game, like, I mean, if Odell or Saquon makes a couple plays, they're down 14-0 quick. And Chris Thompson's on the field the majority of the snaps, and you have Mark Sanchez lining up in shotgun, and that game just gets ugly as fuck. So I don't know. I think he's fine, but running back's a scary position for me because I feel like that's a place where you really have to get right because it could just burn you if you miss, So I usually like to lock down some guys I'm confident with, and like AP just doesn't get me going.
Yeah. I mean, so let's move to receiver. Like this week, receiver is kind of weird. Like I feel like paying up is a decent way to go, but like the guys I like this week are not. They're all in like below 7,000. Is there any guy that like up top that you have to have this week? Like, because I don't think Tyreek Hill is. I'm not really into him this week. Odell, he's not going to be throwing a touchdown pass. Julio, I guess he could go off. I mean, the last time he was in Green Bay, he went off for like 200 yards.
Yeah.
But that was actually in Week 14 in 2014 in the playoffs. I remember it was a big – he had like 0 points going into the third quarter, and then he went off for like 30 points in a quarter. And everybody went like – it was crazy. But who do you like? Is it AB? I mean, like, who is there anybody there you got to have?
I hate saying this, dude, but for me, it's 17. Davante Adams. I like him. He's 8-4 on DraftKings. I think he's kind of in that weird range where like you see Michael Thomas versus Tampa Bay, you see AB versus Oakland, you see OBJ, like a lot of people click on OBJ, Julio, and then no one's really going to click on Adams at 8-4. And this guy's he's a stud every week. He gets so many targets, like so many meaningful targets. He gets a lot of like red zone targets, back pylon fades, like always a candidate for double touchdown days. He's probably one of the most wide receivers in the league that could go for double touchdowns like almost every single game. So like I like him a lot at 8-4. So to answer your question, he would be that guy in that upper tier where I think I'm kind of going to take a stand this week and play Adams because I don't know.
Matchup is good too. They're not going to be able to stop him, and he has a good floor too. Like
amazing floor.
You know what I mean? Like it's a good like he's going to get you at least 10 to 15 points.
Yep.
And like he could go for 30. If he gets a couple touchdowns.
Yeah,
and if it shoots out, which it could. I mean, Atlanta offense has the weapons to that game could be a sneaky shootout. I could see that. In the mid range, Cam, like to me, I feel like Amari Cooper just like screams at you, like play me, like you know what I mean? You got Jalen Mills gonna be covering him. Jalen Mills couldn't cover Paulie. Right now Paulie's sleeping, like literally. You don't even know where Paulie is, really. And anybody has seen Paulie, can somebody tweet, where's Paulie D? Like we don't know where he is, honestly.
Everyone in the chat, go on Twitter, Paulie at Paulie ADs, and just be like, where are you at, dude?
Yeah, like literally, everybody just go on, tweet at Paulie right now. Where are you, Paulie? Where's Paulie D? Like, kind of like, where's Ferris? Like, say Ferris, where's Paulie D?
Yeah, exactly. Just do it right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, Amari Cooper was the guy that I saw 6'6" on DraftKings, been getting 8, 9, 10 targets pretty much. Clearly Dak's like safety blanket now that he's arrived. Man, that Washington game still pisses me off, but he's been good. 6'6", has a safe floor in cash, and then we've seen the ceiling. If Washington actually decided to tackle, he probably wouldn't have gone for 41, but it's a different story. But I like Cooper. He's definitely the guy in that tier that sticks out to me. Let me look at some other guys, like mid-tier ish. I mean, it goes down from like 7-ish K. I mean, honestly, Cooper's the guy that I'm looking at. Galladay, I don't really have a ton of interest in. Ty is another guy, 6'3", who's interesting. Questionable right now with the shoulder, but he should be fine to play. I don't worry with him if it's not like a lower extremity injury. On the turf in Houston, I like him as well. 6'3", so I would go Cooper and Ty here. What's your opinion on Boyd now that AJ Green's permanently out? Are you more of like I feel like, hear me, I have this like theory, right? During basketball season, once like basketball season comes, everyone turns to their like basketball mindset. So once like a wide receiver is out, they're like, oh, Tyler Boyd's gonna see like an increased usage, and they automatically think it's like a good thing, when realistically, like a lot of times it's like not that great. Are you more of like a Boyd, like I'm off of him, or do you like him now that AJ Green's out?
I've had
going
him
up against your Chargers this week.
Yeah, I picked him up like week 2 or 3 on my seasonal team, so I've had him all year. So I know exactly what you're talking about. It's a week to week thing. Generally speaking, like this week, if they line him up in the slot, Desmond King's gonna shut his ass down. What did Juju do last week?
Yeah.
Juju shit. So if they line him up outside against Hayward's pretty damn good too. I mean, AB got him once. That's AB though. Yeah. So I don't like him this week. Now, next week they play the Raiders. Now I can see him. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, because he's at home, they're gonna put him in the slot. They put him outside. He can beat those guys. But he's a number 2. He's not a number 1. So I'm off of him. You don't need to play him at all. I just don't think you need it. I think the chalk play is gonna be if Deshaun Jackson's out again, it's gonna be Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
I think he's just gonna be him or Humphreys. I think you're going to have to make a choice.
I think it's going to be Godwin for sure.
Yeah, because last week Godwin had the big game, but Humphreys scored too.
Humphreys, dude, I've been saying it the last like 3 weeks, ever since Jameis has come in and like start. I was saying it in the Slack. I'm like, Humphreys is the guy you play with Jameis, and I mean he scored every single week, and that was when he was like 3-8. Now he's back. Now he's up to like 4-9. So it's kind of getting to that point where it's like, does he really have a ceiling now? Because he was 3-8 and we were getting 18-point performances. Now if you get 18, 3.5, a little more risky. I still like him. That's a scenario where I can see going like double 4-9 Tampa Bay wide receivers with Jameis in that game, and then bring it back with like Kamara or something. That's a build that I've kind of been toying with if that weather holds up. So I like those two guys. I think Godwin would be somewhat of the chalkier Tampa Bay wide receiver though. And I think it makes sense. I think Godwin is a guy who does have more big playability and more upside. So he would be probably the play that I would favor as well here. What are your thoughts on Courtland Sutton now? That we have Emmanuel Sanders out. I'm more of a like stay away from him, but what are your thoughts?
He would be a cash play for me, probably with Godwin. Maybe if Jackson plays, then maybe I would go to Sutton. I think that he's going to get obviously an uptick in targets, but that doesn't mean necessarily he's going to. I think it depends on matchups. I mean, he's going to have an easy matchup this week, so I like him. I mean, here's the thing. To me, I feel like there's a group of 4 receivers all in this range on FanDuel, and tell me who, like, rank them in order, because they're all within $200. So don't worry about price right now. We got Sutton, Godwin, Dante Pettis, and Demaryius Thomas.
So I think Godwin number 1 if Deshaun Jackson's out. You said, who else did you say?
Sutton,
Pettis,
Dante Pettis, and Demaryius Thomas. Because remember, Chris Harris is out of the year now. So,
yeah, DT's interesting.
You know, Chris Harris is out for Denver, so that means Pettis might see, you know, there might be, if they put him in the slot.
He's been balling too the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I do like his upside, and I still think he'll be somewhat lower owned. I would put Sutton 4 on that list, and I would probably go Pettis 2 and DT 3.
Yeah.
DT probably just has slightly less upside for me, which would give Pettis the edge.
All right, good. All right, let's move on to tight end position, Cam. And then, guys, we will get to the Price is Right.
Yeah, D Millie's in the chat just spamming it for Price is Right.
All right, so tight end position this week, obviously, you know, we actually have, I think this is like the first week in probably 2 or 3 months where you have options up at the top. You have Kelsey,
holy shit, yeah,
and Kittle. I don't remember last week where they were all 3 of them were on the same slate. Like one of them was playing Sunday night. They're doing this, doing that. I think with the news of Chris Harris being out, you know, Kittle lines up in the slot a lot too. So I feel like we could be a Kittle week. I like that. I just don't like having so much. Like we're talking about Wilson's a good play and Pettis is a good play. This is still the Niners. So
yeah,
I feel like Kittle is like the safest out of all 3 of those if you were going to play it in cash. But is it just Eric Ebron again? Just he's going to get 20 targets, lock him in. Yeah. That's your cash game tight end. Move on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know how you couldn't. This matchup against Houston's a good one. 16 targets last game. That had something to do, obviously, with the 53 attempts from Luck. But I mean, this guy's just like the volume monster on this offense, and I don't see how that's not going to continue here. Just the style of offense that Indianapolis runs just yields fantasy points to the tight end. So I would just plug in Ebron and obviously in tournaments you can fade Duck Hands because he could fucking donut at any time. But in cash, I think you just play him and move on from there. But I'm with you on Kittle. I've played him every single week the last 2 weeks. I mean, it hasn't worked out, but he's been like a touchdown play away, like 30-yard touchdown away from going like 5x, 4x. So at 5.5 again, he's going to be 7 to 5% owned like he has been the last 2 weeks, and can definitely get you a 20 to 23 point outcome in this spot here against Denver at 5.5 in a PPR format where he's been getting 10, 13, and 9 targets. So don't overlook Kittle this week. I think he's still in a really great spot here at 5.5. So I like Kittle, I like Ebron, and then you don't have to talk really about Ertz and Kelsey. You can play those two guys every week because they're just studs. But what do you think about Gronk going under 5K this week on DraftKings? I don't know what he is. I don't know what he is over there on FanDuel, but he's sub 4K or sub 5K for a.
He is 6,200 on FanDuel.
Interesting.
So I mean, he's the 7th highest tight end.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, there's the thing is that I think that there's some tight end options down below that you can go to if you wanted to pivot off of that have some decent upside. Old man Antonio Gates, I think, could get you a cheap touchdown on Sunday just because the Bengals are terrible against the tight end. You could do that. I think that there was another guy we have coming up. Price is Right. We'll give to you too. I'll ask you about. But what about this? With the injury of Emmanuel Sanders, is that going to open up more targets for last week's darling, where everybody literally was gargling the guy's senior out? Like, literally, this guy is going to lead me to the promised land, because all of a sudden this guy we've never heard of before, because this other tight end we've never heard of before gets hurt. So this new tight end we've never heard of before is going to come in and win us a tourney. Is Matt Lacoste all of a sudden a thing again this week?
Yeah, I mean, I don't get on shows a lot anymore. So obviously, like, I do the cheat sheets and stuff. So I just go through and I rank the tiers. Mm-hmm. I rank the guys at the tiers. So I think I had Brait last week over Lacoste on the cheat sheet. Dude, when someone's going to be that chalky at that price, who can literally get you a fucking zero,
bro,
like,
he did
run away. So I always just look at that as like, okay, you can get he got 4 targets the week before, 4 targets. He happened to catch a touchdown and he got 12 points. So, like, that's probably your best outcome there, right? And then that's not even going to happen like week to week. Like, he had a ceiling game and now he's just going to be 35% owned. Like, just that's not a good play. And then if you leverage it with Kelsey last week, you were just like leaps and bounds ahead. So yeah, I'm not going to play Lacoste this week. I don't know, man. I don't really ever like hunt tight end that much. It's burned me a couple times, but like last week it helped me because Kelsey went for 50 and 30% of people had a 0. So it comes and it goes. Like, it'll obviously work out sometimes, but I just wouldn't really want to eat like tight end chalk. So I have heard that a little bit across the industry about how Emmanuel Sanders leaving is going to open up targets for Matt Lacoste and Courtland Sutton, but I think it kind of just changes the dynamic of that whole offense, and you might see more running, like more carries from more diverse, like there's more running back involved. Yeah, exactly. So like, I don't know. I just think it's a scenario where like I'm not gonna really click any of those buttons for Denver because I don't really know what they're gonna do now that they just lost their leading pass catcher. So I'm just gonna leave it alone. I think Njoku is interesting. 3-9 going up against Carolina. Carolina usually prints money versus tight ends. Njoku, we talked about how we like Baker going back to Cleveland here. Njoku 3-9. Pretty fair price for a decent matchup here. So I like Njoku. I think it would be the four studs that we talked about with Kelsey, Ertz, Ebron, Kittle, and Njoku for me would be my 5 tight ends that I'm looking at.
All right. Hold on one second. We have a question here. This is a seasonal question from our man D Millie. Season long, 2 flex, full PPR. So we got to start 2. Do we start Cohen versus the Rams, Jalen Samuels, Austin Eckler, or Nick Chubb? We need 2.
Cohen.
I'm taking Cohen.
Cohen for sure. I guess you could look at who your opponent has. Maybe that factors it in.
Are you an underdog? Are you a favorite? I think if you're a favorite, I would go with like Samuels. But if you're I feel like Chubb is going to be fine, but you're just hoping for him to fall into the end zone, though. That's the problem. I don't think he's going to be huge this week because Carolina's good. Samuels is kind of like, the boring play, I guess. You know what I mean? And Eckler, I think we've seen what Eckler can do. I think you've seen what Eckler can do. His ceiling is like 20, 22 points.
Yeah.
But if you need a home run hitter, I would go with Cohen and probably Samuels.
Yeah.
If you can start Samuels in your tight end spot, if it's Yahoo, do that and then go with it.
Yeah, no shit. I would go Cohen, Samuels, or Eckler. I think Chubb probably gets the axe, especially in a full PPR league.
All right, that's good. All right, let's move on to the defense position. For cash, is it just lock in the Chargers against Jeff Driscoll and is that what it is? This defense to me, like I was telling before, started. I felt like in the second half, if you've watched enough football in your life, I felt like the defense, the defense came together in that second half. They started getting sacks. They held, the Steelers, the best offense, one of the best offenses of football, to 7 points. In the second half, Bosa's back getting sacks.
Yeah, that's huge.
Derwin James is the rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, easily running away with it. I just think it's the Chargers, and then who else though? There's nobody else that's really I guess Buffalo, I like too. But is there anybody that you like else, and then maybe down below that kind of sticks out?
Yeah, so down below, I kind of pretty much have my just my 2 defenses this week. I don't play like a whole shit ton of lineups, so I'll probably make like 1 or 2. I like the Chargers and I like the Giants. So looking at some of the Giants pass rushing statistics the past couple weeks, they're getting like a lot of pressure just in general on the quarterback, and going up against Washington, who's lost just a ton of offensive linemen, and Mark Sanchez here. I think this is a really good spot for them at 2-5. I like the Giants on DraftKings for sure. It's like kind of my pay down defense. Mm-hmm. Sounds weird, but I don't know. I kind of like it.
No, I don't mind it either. I think that in theory we see it that it could be great, but if Washington runs the ball and controls the clock, they're not. The fact that they're so low is going to be good because they're not going to get that many points. But if they can get up and force Sanchez to pass, then we have something. Then we might be cooking,
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It's going to be.
Chargers tough for sure though. They're a lock for probably 10.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. I'm trying to see if there's any other defenses that just absolutely you gotta wow.
Defense is so fucking random, dude. It's Who knows what's gonna happen?
Like,
Honestly,
I even think about the Cardinals D at home against Stafford.
what was that game where it was Rams Chiefs, and they both had like 2 defensive touchdowns apiece, but they gave up like 50.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, that's why in my seasonal league this week I have the Bears D.
Yeah.
I mean, I could put in a different D. I could.
No, you're fine. Yeah.
Twice this year, they played on prime time, and both times they've been against a decent offense, and both times they're like, no, I'm playing somebody better. Both times they've outscored that defense.
Yeah.
So it's like the third time, it's like, you know what? I know it's the Rams, but that doesn't mean they can't get a couple sacks, a pick. Yep. Maybe they return a fumble for a touchdown, and they still get you 10 points, even though they give up 35 points.
Yeah, Mac will get like a strip sack or something for sure. Yeah, that's pretty much like a lock.
And it's supposed to be, I mean, you live in Chicago. I heard it's supposed to be freezing
it's fucking Sunday. Cold right now, dude.
Yeah, so I can see that happening. Alrighty. Now it's time. For the game show that is sweeping the nation on Thursday nights. That's right. My boy Stevie, the producer, came back for this segment. That's right. He's listening to the Price is Right segment. He wants to know the best prices to play on FanDuel. I know usually Paulie D's in it right now, but it's going to be Cam. I'm going to be showing him some prices on FanDuel. So, starting off at the quarterback position, last week's darling, Josh Allen at 7,400.
Oh, gosh. Oh, man. I'm going to go the price is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's just slightly too expensive. I'm kind of being a little nitpicky, but I think I want him around like 7K or maybe even like 6.9.
Mm-hmm.
Like just a little too cheap. I feel like he's been doing it a little too much on the ground. I think I want to see a little more through the air before I pay 7.4 for him.
All right. We have a question here.
That was a good one.
What's your thoughts on Zay Jones now with Benjamin gone? I mean, he's produced. I think he's been up and down, though, the last few weeks. I know with Benjamin gone, he's going to get more targets, but they have that other guy, Reuben Foster. Personally, for me, I just feel like in DFS, you don't need them. You just don't need to play any bills. You just don't. If you want to, great, but I don't think it's going to be oh, man.
Right.
I only had Zay Jones. You know what I mean? That's just the way I look at it. I could see it. I could see it working, and it's a great play on, because nobody's going to have them. And so, you know what? I'm not saying it's a bad play, but I just feel like I go with other plays that I know that are going to hit, that are more reliable. Plus, Reuben Foster's been just as good. He's caught a couple bombs too. So, all right, let's move on to running back. At 6,900, my man, Sony Michel.
I kind of am a Sony Michel guy. I think the price is right there, especially on FanDuel.
Nice. That's good. I like it. Very nice. Very good. That's good. Oh, that was the wrong one. All right. Let's move on to the wide receiver position. Last week, you had a good week. This week, everybody's going to be going to Amari. But for the price decrease of $1,800, you got Michael Gallup, 5,100.
Oh shit! Oh man, I think the price is wrong there. I think maybe he needs to be like $4,000.
Okay, well, you can only go 4,500 on
I
FanDuel.
know.
So you do not like Michael Gallup. You're not a Michael Gallup fan. All right.
Only on a 3-game slate or something.
All right. Moving on to tight end. Travis Kelce absolutely took out his dick, bent over John Gruden, pulled down John Gruden's panties, and stuck his cock in him and raped him. Literally, he did. Is Vance McDonald at 5,500? Is the price right, Cam? For Vance McDonald at 5,500?
Yeah, I mean, I think the price is right. He's been getting volume, and it could happen. Not my favorite play, but like he's not hurting you that much. It's not a huge price to pay for Vance, so I think it's okay.
Yeah. Woo! You can see Steve in the back is loving this. He is loving this, people. YouTube people, Steve in the back is loving this, man. Absolutely loving this. Does anybody know that Steve is a huge wrestling fan? Huge wrestling fan. He loves WWE so much. We've done podcasts together, man. Check out Steve, man. He's the man. He talks about it all the time. He's done a couple basketball shows. You guys remember him? Did the basketball shows and everything. He's there. All right. So let's move on to defense. Last one, defense. The 4,200. The Buffalo Bills. Nobody.
Circles the wagons.
Like the Buffalo Bills. And Josh Darnold or Sam Darnold return.
Sam Darnold return. Interesting. I think the price is right there. I mean, they're fine. They wouldn't be my favorite, but I think it's fair.
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, there it is. All right. That's it. See, that's the price is right. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
But people love it. Seriously. Like, look, they love it so much they're speechless in the chat. They don't know what they don't know, but our viewers went up almost 3 times the amount it went up from when we started. When I first started saying we're gonna do the prices right, we've gone up 3 times as much. All right. That is just
we're moving numbers.
I know we're moving numbers. We're moving numbers. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for the week 14 father and son building blocks. That's right. There's a different show name for every show that I have with anyone. If it was me and CK, it would be like, Patio and the Oil Boy or something like that.
Patio and the Oil.
If it was me and Cash, it would be like Patio and I want to say the wife beater shirt, but the wife beater, you know what I mean?
No, dude, he got it. Did you see his new outfit?
Oh, he wears all Wise Take gear now, huh?
Yeah, he's got Wise Take, like he's got the white Wise Take shirt. Yeah. He's just decked out in the Wise Take.
I love it. Like they sent me. I got 2 shirts. I got the black ones. Like I like it. They're very nice.
Oh yeah, I got a sweatshirt. Fucking great. I still have to wash it though, because I do wash like once every 3 weeks. So
yeah, I've gotten a lot of comments that I look thin in those shirts, in the Wise Take shirts. So guys, girls, if you're out there listening, guys, tell your girls to buy you a Wise Take shirt to put it in your stocking for Christmas. I know Steve is going to get one and put it in his stocking for Christmas, because there's nothing like waking up on Christmas morning and going in your stocking and seeing a Wise Take shirt. Especially
makes you look slim.
Thin. It's slimming. I'm telling you. Go on to the website, wisestake.com. We have a shop now. We have hats. We have sweatshirts. And they're all modeled by Paulie. It's awesome, too. Really, and he has no pants on during every one of the shoots. It's just him in his sweatshirt and no pants on, or a t-shirt, no pants. Paulie, where is Paulie? I don't know. Have we found Paulie? Steve-O, have we found Paulie? We have not found Paulie. Nobody knows where Paulie is. And I know I'm rambling, Steve, and probably CK is probably saying, I got to do a basketball show with Cash in about 7 minutes, but it's not going to happen. I'm just rambling tonight. We're having fun. So, guys, I appreciate it. Remember, we have the Y stream on Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, featuring, hopefully, if we could find him, Paulie D and Cash and DFS. If not, I'm sure CK will put up his hair in a little ponytail, put up his hat like this, and he'll do the show with Cash. I wish I could do a wide stream. I haven't done one all year, but Saturdays are just, there's just no way in hell.
It's not going to happen.
Way at 5:30 in the afternoon and do a podcast for 2 hours while the kids are screaming. So,
yeah.
I mean, you remember how it was when you were a little son, so you know how it is.
Yep.
So you were bugging me left and right. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for the Week 14 podcast. Remember, sign up for wisestake.com. Join the nation. Get a weekly pass, get a season pass, get a daily pass. We appreciate it. We got articles, everything, cheat sheets. Cam has his cheat sheets. We got basketball, MMA, all that stuff. Guys, it's a great. Join the nation. We appreciate it. So, for my man, Cam, you can follow him at CamGDFS. And, of course, follow me at Patio Joe Rep. We've had a great time tonight. So, we are out. And as my man CK always says, good luck. Yeah.
There we go.